Hi, this is Mark Andrews from Pega, and welcome to the Way Forward in Financial Services. Today, I have Mitch Mitchell with me, and we're going to be talking about collections. Welcome to the show, Mitch.
Hey, thanks, Mark. Nice to be talking to you today.
So, one of the big stories in the news has been about how this crisis has led to unprecedented levels of unemployment, those not seen since the Great Depression. And we know that both the individuals and small businesses that are struggling to pay their bills will face challenges with their loan payments, and delinquencies are already on the rise. How will all of this impact collections operations in financial services organizations?
So it's a great question. It's the question of the moment. And it sounds like a cliche, but I really want to address this in three bits: people, process, and technology. So everyone's in a comfortable wheelhouse. So people, overwhelmed, I think, is the word. So our customers are overwhelmed. They're scared. No one's sure what's happening with their financial positions. And that's actually overwhelming. Then our contact centers, as those people are reaching out for help and assistance, our contact centers, which have been used to dealing with crises in the past, but it might be a flood or a fire, not a nationwide issue. So our operations have really been overwhelmed as this nationwide crisis has inundated the contact centers, whose business systems just aren't built to deal with this volume of assistance that they're being requested. So people are struggling. So the processes also have changed, as the government has almost daily been releasing new regulations and new subtleties within those regulations that people have been learning to assimilate. The problem is that those processes can't be driven out to the thousands of contact center staff in a quick and easy way, because it's a lot of information for those people to try and take hold of in those processes. So the process is changing daily, very difficult to keep in touch with those. And then the technology has almost been a barrier. So when customers have looked for help online themselves, for example, or through self-service channels, if that technology hasn't been actually able to help them, that's a cause of frustration. And then those people are also driving into the contact centers. That technology is also actually driving a poor customer experience for things like, in the collections world, contact strategies that just keep plowing. Those strategies just keep rolling on. And that's actually a barrier to the banks being seen as being helpful, because until they stop those fully automated contact strategies, the technology is actually now a barrier to actually helping those customers. It's now not effective anymore. So
I can imagine individuals must be very frustrated in the middle of a crisis. They're getting called about collecting on late payments, sometimes maybe even when the bank has already given them offered a payment holiday to them.
Exactly. So that technology, then that's no longer helpful. That technology is actually making it worse.
So how should companies be thinking about responding to and addressing these challenges?
Well, again, the whole, for me, there's a real short-term need. We've got to help these customers, and you've got to help them now. But there's also got to be a view on the medium and longer term positions, because these customers are going to need immediate help, but they're also going to need longer, and they're going to need help going for some time into the future as well. And this is where, again, the technology could actually be a savior if we can help triage those customers, understand which customers can be helped quickly in self-service. So get your self-service up to snuff. So help those customers who can help themselves, and then put in place systems that can guide both the customers and the collectors through those processes. So now you don't have to be an expert in everything to do with the CARE Act to actually be able to assist your customers. If the technology is actually able to step you through your eligibility for a program, for example. And that's actually, we'll talk about benefits in a minute, but if you can actually break that down, step your customers and your collectors through those processes, then the technology is actually now enhancing that experience rather than really just being a barrier to it. So
well, we're hearing a lot about the need for guided processing
mm,
for these people, but why is it important for firms, for financial services firms, to be taking these steps?
so if you break down the things that all collections operations care about, bad debt and costs. So if we can reduce or maintain costs within a reasonable level by driving more self-service, then that's a long-term goal, and that's one of the areas that all organizations are really going to have to address. One of the other things in terms of bad debt, actually using analytics to really make sure that we are identifying risk appropriately, that we are triaging those customers into the right longer term plans. And in terms of for the banks and the firms as well, by correctly putting those customers through the right process and identifying eligibility, they can also help deflect some of that bad debt. So for example, if a loan has been correctly assigned to the correct program, firms may not have to manage that as a troubled asset. And that actually will also help their bad debt position. So again, it's by having analytics and process guidance, we're actually able to manage our bad debt within the new regulatory environment that the government's establishing.
Are there any examples of financial services companies that are doing this well, that are responding to customers in need and have been able to adapt quickly?
Absolutely. So there's some very large organizations that you'd think that with their millions of customers, this would be a struggle, but they have systemically been able to reach out with forbearance programs, loan forgiveness. Companies like CBA, an awesome industrial strength decisioning client of Pega's, able to actually offer loan forgiveness and revised payment plans. Scotia, again, were able to offer help and assistance to customers within a matter of days using advanced technology. And then an old friend of mine, old client of mine, Canadian Tire, in the non-banking sector, Canadian Tire Financial Services, were actually able to use Pega's ability to define payment plan options to actually quickly reach out to customers with eligible and more compassionate, that compassionate collections that really is going to be the future.
Well, that's great to hear, Mitch. And I'm excited to know that there is a way forward for financial services firms as we get through this crisis. And hopefully that the guidance you've provided and the ideas you've shared will give them thoughts on how they can get started on transitioning their collections operations for the future. So appreciate everyone joining us here on the way forward in financial services, and hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thank you.